Alderman Kennedy.
Here.
Alderman Moore.
Here.
Alderman French. Alderman Vaccaro.
Present. Okay.
Alderwoman Howard.
Present.
Alderman Carter. Alderwoman Murphy. Alderman Ogilvy.
Here.
Chairman Conway. Alderman French. Alderman Carter.
Present. Thank you, sir.
Alderwoman Murphy. Chairman Conway. 6 present, you have a quorum.
Okay, we're gonna hear Board Bill 51 first. So, Joe, if you want to take a hot seat, or I'll make it Marlene. He said this will take 2 minutes. Marlene swears. Okay. So,
I don't have it in front of me, Mr. Chairman, but this is a bill that will create a community improvement district for a site-specific new development. The developers are here, and so is their counsel, Bill Keeling. And this is a technique that we used before in another, this is for a condo project, I'm sorry to orient everyone. It's a condo project at the corner of Sarah and Laclede, the northwest corner. And we have been fairly successful, I think, as many people know, in developing apartments in the last several years. But we really haven't had new for sale product developed in some time throughout the West End. And we have some, I guess, garden or a kind of townhouse, low density development is the first one. But this is the first dense single story, single building, multi-unit development that we've had in a number of years. It's particularly important to us because it conforms almost completely to the farm-based code that we have in the area. The farm-based code, to kind of refresh everybody's memories, was is a kind of a zoning technique intended to go ahead and create sustainable development in the way of increasing density and supporting car optional type of living. And this particular project will have retail on the first floor, and it will be for sale units. It's a 6 or 7 story building and 6-story building. Developers are here. I probably should give them a chance if they have. Do you guys did I see some sales brochures? Or maybe pass this around.
Joe, there's an amendment on there too.
Right.
I think everybody's got it in front of them.
You want to pass it around?
I'm jealous. You go.
Taking reservations if you'd like to buy one.
So we might as well just get that in front of everybody so that. It's just an amendment, so it's not a committee sub or anything, so.
So what we're doing with this is going to provide the building tax abatement, but then but the residents of the building will actually end up paying the equivalent of real estate taxes in the form of a contribution to the community improvement district. By doing it that way, it gives us it gives the developer some flexibility as far as financing and getting some upfront money. The real challenge with developing this type of building is the amount of pre-sales that are necessary before they can break ground. They typically need to have a substantial number of the units pre-sold. And what makes it particularly difficult is you go ahead and you put your money down for a unit, and then they have to get all the pre-sales before they start the project. And then after they start the project, it may be 18 or 24 months before your unit is done. And so trying to get all those people to be that patient that far out is very, very challenging. So this particular financing techniques gives them the little bit ability to, a little bit more flexibility in getting a project like this up and running. They have successfully found someone who would be an investor and purchase the note that the payments to the SID will secure. And as part of the terms of the note, there are several, the buyer of the note wanted to go ahead and have some control over the governance of the SID, and so that is the purpose of the amendment that we have before you here. So I don't know, I guess it's appropriate this time to ask that we place the amendment before you.
Yeah, I would need a motion to place the bill as amended. The amendment takes, it doesn't change the body of the bill, it changes from page 3, line 28, 29, and 30. It takes the names that are out, and it adds 3 different names. You got them in front of you. Mark,
They usually say Brian.
Brian, okay. So it takes, and there's no change to the body of the bill, so I would make a motion that we put the amended bill in front of us.
Second.
I think we need to have a vote. Alderman Kennedy?
Aye.
Alderman Moore?
Pass.
Alderman French? Alderman Vaquero?
Aye.
Alderman Howard?
Aye.
Alderman Carter?
Aye.
Alderman Ogilvy?
Aye.
Alderman Moore?
I have a question.
Well, it just changes 3 names. We just put it in front of us. We're
I
not
have a
voting.
question.
Yes, sir. Your question.
I'd like to know who these people are.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, we're just gonna put it in front of us and then we can ask that question.
I don't know who they are personally, but I can kind of tell you the intent of having them on there. So the way this is structured is we're awarding tax abatement.
Oh, yeah, you know what,
And it-
Joe, we really have to complete the vote. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it, I'm new at this, Terry's right. So it has to be yes, no, or pass. And then we'll have the bill in front of us and then you can ask a question.
Yeah, sure.
That's what we voted
So,
on. Amendment to add.
just ask.
Alderman Moore?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
We have 6 ayes.
Okay, so we have the amended bill in front of us. Alderman Moore, you can go ahead and now and ask the question, that's fine.
I want to know who these people are.
So,
That's fine, go ahead.
this is Michael Gingrich, if I can stand up. Sure. Michael's one of the developers of the project, and he can explain who they are.
So Mark and Laura Bryan are just a family investment group. They've done projects with me in the past, and they are investing in the CID as a note, so they just want to be on the board because they're investing in it. So the board will be Mark, Laura, myself, Austin, and I think there's an independent person on there as well.
Michael.
So that's who Mark and Laura are.
When you come in my ward, you don't have to worry about that because I don't want the name to be Sam Moore.
Okay, so, I'm gonna keep it moving along. So, does anybody have questions? I can go down the line if you want, if not, if nobody has questions.
I got one other question.
Yes, sir. Alderman Moore.
The resident that pay the tax abatement, are they gonna pay monthly or yearly?
It's yearly.
Yearly.
Yeah.
So there's enough assessment. How many units is it gonna be?
54 units.
53,
54.
54, and then what they're averaging paying a year?
The average, we've set the assessment equal to roughly 90% of what they would pay in property taxes. So they get a little bit of a break. On average, it's around 3,500 to 4,000 a year.
And you got them to buy into paying in advance?
They're getting, well, they're not taking advance. You mean the Brigans, or do you mean the actual owners of the units?
Resident.
The residents will pay at the end of the year as they normally come.
Okay. All right. That's all I have.
Okay, if there's no other further questions, I make a motion to pass Board Bill 50, one out, and do, as amended, and do pass recommendation.
Second. Previous row.
Well,
We have a new objection.
Yeah, I know.
Alderman Kennedy?
Aye.
Alderman Moore?
Aye.
Alderman French?
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard?
Aye.
Alderman Carter?
Aye.
Alderman Ogilvy?
Aye.
Chairman Vaquero?
Aye.
7 ayes, 0 noes.
Now, some of you guys need to.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My vice chair, I believe, has a bill before you, and I thought if you could indulge us, we would let her do her
Right, I'm
bill,
gonna do
and then I'll
it.
probably steal some of your quorum so that I can make a quorum, and then we can let everybody pick who has the funnest meetings to go to.
So we're gonna put Board Bill 32 in front of us, Alderman Davis. where we at? And if you guys want to have a chair, there's room now. Alderman Davis.
I only found out about it Monday.
Yes, Alderman. You want to explain this?
Yeah, we're waiting for
Okay, well, we have in front of us Board Bill 32. Alderman Davis, can you give us a quick rundown on that? Or if you have something you want to talk about it?
Okay. Pass me the board bill. Thank you. So, we want to talk about Board Bill number 32. This is a Grand Center Area 2 CID, Community Improvement District. As some of you remember from being here present about 3 years ago, I believe it was, we approved the Grand Center set that has been in place for a number of years, that includes the Fox and other areas in that Grand Center area. There was some concern by some of the small business owners that it really was a burden for them to pay that additional cost. Their revenue was not as high. And so what we did in resolution with that was to agree to form a second SID that would be sales tax for those retailers, because most of them sell items, food, or whatever product. And so it just made sense, and that's where we are today with this board bill. Now, we also have the opportunity for these two SIDs to have a working relationship as well, which is good for us, so that anything that is done in that area, no one will be slighted. They'll still be able to provide the security in the area, the beautification, and the other things that they do to make that what it is. I do have here present with me the attorney, Will Zorn, who prepared this and has worked with getting those persons signed on and getting all the understandings for the bill as it's presented to you. We also have representatives from the Grand Center area. We have Mr. Johnny Wong with Sunrise Chinese. It's the best Chinese in the entire world. We also have Gary Clark with American Auto, who has been in the district for over 60 years now? 62, okay, over 60 years. And we also have Zach Smith here, who is with Moto Museum, Triumph, and all of the above that they do on behalf of the city of St. Louis. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask that, if you don't mind, before you go to questions, if we could have the attorney also give us some fine details very quickly, okay?
That would be fine.
All right. Mr. Zorn, could you
Hi.
talk to us about
Yes,
it?
Will Zorn, I represent the current SID, and there's 27 parcels in the current SID with 8 owners, including SLU, American Auto, Sunrise Chinese, Motor Museum, the Hotel Ignacio, Triumph, who are currently paying the assessment SID. The main purposes are beautification and security, secondary security services. They want to continue doing exactly that, but just to fund it via a sales tax rather than an assessment, which sort of appears on your property bill. It looks like a property tax. It's not, but that's how it sort of works. And so the to-be-formed sales tax SID and the existing SID have already agreed to continue the services that they're providing now, and just to fund it in a different way for these 8 petitioners, 27 parcels. So it's a good thing that everybody is in agreement with, and we want to continue it. Additionally, looking to the future, some of the owners just to the east of this, up to Compton, want to form a future SID to butt up against the Locust Business District so that secondary security services are provided in the whole, hopefully the whole central corridor eventually.
Before I ask a question, is there any public testimony for or opposed? I am not hearing any. Does anyone have questions? I can go down. Well, we go down just in case. We'll go down the list just in case. So, Alderman Kennedy, any questions?
No questions.
Alderman Moore, any questions?
No questions.
Alderman French, any questions?
Yeah, so what would the effective tax rate be over there?
Well, we're gonna have the same, rate as the first SID, is the 1%. And we don't have 2 layers. You know, in the east part of my ward, there's a SID around 19th and 20th Street, and there's 2 parts to it, which equals 1.25%. We don't have that.
So this isn't a layer?
No, it doesn't have, and it doesn't have a TDD added to it either. So it's just a plain SID.
So as far as sales tax on just, when somebody goes and buys something over there, the only extra tax they're paying will be this SID, there's nothing else already in existence? Okay. That's it.
Alderman Howard?
So, and what is that rate, sales tax? What is the percentage?
Well, it can only go, the maximum can only be 1%.
No, but I'm saying totally. Now, in other words, what is the sales tax?
What is our city sales tax? I don't keep that in my head. 8.49 something.
So it'll be right.
Whatever our city sales
Almost
tax.
10%. Okay,
Yeah.
I just,
Mhm.
and then I guess the other question, having interest in this is the same footprint as the prior SID? Or the other SID just took and encompassed these 8 businesses? Is that what
We
you're
carved out some of the original SID and added a little bit more to it.
saying?
So, it is agreed upon SID. We didn't create it from here. It was created by these members in the community.
Okay, and they recruited other businesses that
Yes.
agreed to the sales tax, but however, they won't be paying the property assessment,
No,
just the 8 people.
right.
Okay, that's all I needed to know.
Alderman Carter?
No questions.
And Alderman Ogilvy?
Thanks. Is this, so I remember a couple of years ago, there was the property tax. I think you said property tax, which is not
The
a
assessment, yes.
property tax assessment.
Mhm.
Is this the same geography? Is that?
No, it is not exactly the same. So the Fox Theater is not included in these boundaries. A number of things
But
are
it's
not.
partially the same.
It has some, but this was drawn out of it, out of the original. Because remember, we had that long discussion at that committee meeting,
Yeah.
and there were
Right.
people talking against it and everything. And so we drew out those areas that had the most concern out of the original, and they
Okay.
all agreed to that.
Okay, so we're also changing that prior.
But we did that in committee. When it passed,
Okay.
we amended it and took care of that.
Okay, so the folks who were the smaller businesses who, like, there was a bed and breakfast, I think.
The bed and breakfast is not included in this, right?
Correct.
Right.
This is just the eastern portion of the existing SID, going from the assessment SID to the sales tax SID and funding the same safety and cleaning services.
Okay.
So,
But the idea is that because there were those concerns about certain small businesses paying kind of a high rate compared to the Fox Theater, for instance, on the property tax, this is the solution, that they won't be doing that. It'll be sales tax based,
Right.
but we'll still be extending the,
Right. Services will still
Right.
be extended, all of that.
and it's 2, so we'll have that SID and this SID, they're next to each other.
Mhm.
They'll cooperate, but they're different entities. They're
Exactly.
different. Okay. Okay.
Hearing no other questions, I would assume, so I would ask that we pass Board Bill 32 on the due pass recommendation. Previous roll. Hearing no objection to previous roll, Board Bill 32 passes out with the due pass recommendation.
Thank you
all
very
for
much.
coming. Steve Rundy, you're up. Oh, he left.
He said he left, no, he
Yeah,
right
if
there.
anybody needs to go to HUD,
Yeah, we need to go to.
anybody on HUD that needs to go over,
Yep.
and then,
Yeah, we'll run over there.
Can we make a form and then come?
yeah, make a point and come back. And I'm gonna allow a lot more time.
Okay. Aren't we supposed to do a presentation on the NGA?
No, I don't know. I thought it was we were picking up the last bills that we didn't finish the last time.
But I think, Chris, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna let this go for a lot of people have long, questions.
There's 3 bills and a presentation by Otis on NGA. I kinda want to see that.
So,
It's kind of important.
well,
Yeah, I mean,
well, we can start with you guys. You know, I think what I'll do, rather than have we go through the spiel, because we pretty much know, I think these guys probably more have questions, unless.
I would like to hear the spiel.
You wanna hear it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of guys aren't here to hear it.
Well, let's,
Okay.
We're here.
Okay,
let's come back in an hour then. I don't know.
no, go for it.
Go
That's
for it.
fine. Let's go ahead and go for it there.
you want to give them a form?
I was just gonna go straight to the questions.
Yeah, just stay here. They can wait.
Steve, go ahead.
It's your show.
But he is gonna give all the departments
Yeah, I mean,
at
I'll
one time.
I'll just
Right.
mention any changes over previous years. Yeah, first of all, most of you know, I have Deanna Venker here, she's the traffic commissioner. Mike Holsey, I'm sure you all know, because he's here almost every Friday. And Nick Young, the refuge commissioner. Kent Flake, the street commissioner, is on vacation this week, so he's not here. Basically, in the 510 budget, everything is the same as last year, except we moved one position out of 510 to 511. That's the traffic engineer, that's the new, what we refer to as a bike and pedestrian coordinator. It really belongs more in the traffic section to work with all the other people involved. That's the only change in 510. In addition to the movement of the traffic engineer to 511, we also changed the vacant position, electrical supervisor. We're changing that, well, we have it in the budget as a traffic operations supervisor. What that person is gonna be doing with all the fiber connections, with all the signals and the detection and all the cameras we have out there observing traffic, is to more manage that operation. It takes a lot, we have 3 or 4 people involved to maintain that and monitor that situation. So that's in the new budget. We're pretty sure that's gonna be the title of it, but the position's gonna be studied by personnel to make sure it's the right title of position.
Okay.
It's the traffic operations supervisor is what it is in what we have listed in 511.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The other change in 511 is, you'll notice under the account, for the material account, the weather sirens and parts, that's now 0. And the reason for that is that money is now in SEMA's account, but we'll still be maintaining it and spending that money. The reason it was moved to SEMA is for accounting purposes, because if it's in their account, any money we spend, they can submit to the state and get 50% reimbursement. If it's in our account, we can't do that. It's all a funding operation. In 513 is basically the same. We asked for a little bit more money to buy material and stuff, but we can work around that. The big thing in 514 is our salt account. We asked for 560,000, and they only gave us 100,000. That's to replenish what we used this year. We didn't use much less this year or last year, but if we have a winter like we did 3 or 4 years ago, we're gonna be short of salt. So it's a crapshoot whether we'll survive or not, so. That's one thing I'd like additional money in that account. I forget which one it is here. That's in, under materials and supplies, it's 5237000, public health and safety account. And that's really the only change in 514, or the issue we have. The big issue we have, or the big thing is refuse. I'm not sure you're all aware of it, but this November, is it still?
End of the year.
End of the year, we're consolidating refuse. We're moving all of the operations, the one man, the one truck operations to Central Industrial Drive, because the north site was sold to Procter & Gamble. So all the one-man operations will be located in Central Industrial, which is right there at Van Venner and Shodel. The bulk operations will all be focused down, they'll house out of South Refuse. And because of that, you'll notice on the TO, and there's some 6-month positions. We figured when combining the operations, we can eliminate a few positions. Because currently, right now, you have your north people and your south people, so you need some spare drivers at each location. Sometimes you don't use them, sometimes you do. So if they're all in one spot, they can move around. And there's some debate about how the other positions they cut. We'll see how we survive, because they eliminated a total of like 7 positions, 7 drivers. We currently have 70 positions filled out of the 79 authorized. There's been 2 issues. We've had a hard time hiring drivers. And I think there's been occasions where we hired some, and after a few weeks, they quit.
A hard time hiring refuse truck
drivers. And part of that problem is the other problem with refuse is the age of the equipment. Where do I say? Where's my other sheet? A refuse truck or any vehicle like that, the useful life of it is maybe 10 years. We have a total of 79 trucks. 28 of them are 16 years old. Half the fleet is past its useful lifespan. Almost daily, we don't have enough trucks to complete all the routes without working overtime. And I don't know if you've had complaints from your residents or whatever that my trash didn't get picked up today. That happens, but we always make sure we get it the next day. So.
I'm gonna start with Alderman Ogilvy since everybody left.
Well, thank you.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I did it wrong. You know what, I'm not used to. I'm gonna start with Alderman Howard. So I'm gonna say, I would try and hold everybody about 15 minutes.
I won't need 15 minutes.
Well,
I'm not that shabby.
when the other guys come back, they
I'm
might.
a bad politician.
They might.
Yes.
And I apologize.
You mentioned how many trucks you have. You have a total of how many trucks?
79.
79.
These are the
28,
one-arm
so a
bandit
third of them.
trucks.
Third of them are about half, I guess, yeah.
And
Anyway,
on, we normally have like 58 or 60 routes a day,
okay.
so.
So let me ask you this, the bond issue that was just passed, will that provide you some relief and give you some more
A
money
little
to buy
relief,
equipment?
there's four refuse trucks in there.
Okay, so are those
That's the only
ordered?
equipment in there.
Will those be ordered soon, or how long does it take
I
to
don't
get
know,
them?
yeah, they will,
How long does it take to get them and get them?
6 months.
6 to 9.
Okay,
A
so-
refuse, they're $250,000 apiece.
I got, yeah, I didn't figure they were cheap. So, of that, of the others, what are the age of the other, 49 or 50
See,
after the
I can give
28?
it
Yeah, he's made the sheet
Oh,
up.
okay.
the actual count.
Okay. So, I got you. Thank you.
One thing and I forgot to mention, we're considering doing now is because there's many days when they don't have enough trucks to complete the routes, is starting to work Saturdays.
10 copies.
Okay. And then you
Okay.
pay overtime, which increases
Well, no,
the
we
cost.
reschedule people.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's days now when there's drivers sitting around waiting for a truck, so we may just spread it out. Naturally, the cart routes would always stay the same. We need, because we don't want to, people put their carts out because they know when it's going to be picked up. It's the alley routes that we'd adjust, you know, because if you're in the dumpster, I mean, if it doesn't get picked up
Okay.
Monday, it's Tuesday, it's no big issue.
I guess my other question is, people are paying for trash service, and I think that also exasperates the demand that people feel like they're paying, they should
I
get
totally
good
agree with you,
service.
yes.
So how much of your budget comes from that fee for trash? How much of your budget comes from,
Well, if you want, I can speak to that.
Yeah,
So I believe, Ed, we bring in what, just under $15 million for collecting trash, and the refuse budget, when you add up the expenses of it's around 21 million is what we spend repairing the equipment and the actual labor in that.
so you're underfunded by about $6 million?
Yeah, if you were gonna fund it in the whole. You have to be careful because of the Hancock clause and what you bill out and that. So we wanted to have a buffer in there. Could that buffer be reduced? Absolutely. You know, it was done in 2010, so we've had 6 years of practice, and this is where we are.
What, do we make money off recycling at all?
No, I mean, in a way. So when we started in 2000, I'm speaking of this much, in 2010, we were actually getting paid for single strain, because the Chinese were in high demand for paper.
Okay.
Now that demand's fallen off, we're actually paying, I believe,
like
$14 a
$14.
ton, Nick, for recycling.
Yeah.
Versus paying $35 to get rid of a ton of
Yeah, I
trash.
can.
So we have a discount where we don't have to pay the $20. If all the recycling was going into trash, we have to pay $20
Yeah.
a ton more.
Recycling definitely saves us money.
Okay, so it does save money, but it isn't a money
It's not
maker.
near the cash cow that it looked like in
Right.
2010.
So, as far as people utilizing those, the push isn't as great as it once was because it's not, I mean,
I don't know, Nick, where the volumes at with recycling? Are they pretty constant, or are they?
They've been going up every year. It's still running a little over 12% maybe, of the trash is recycled.
does, this is a question, kind of a, does, in other words, you have the recycling bins, those are picked up separate, and then the lawn bins, and then the regular trash bins. Is there really any difference in where all that goes? Because I notice in my recycling bins, I've got everything from lawn waste to yard waste to, furniture to, God knows what all. So I'm kinda like, well, one, there's no enforcement of it, and I don't know how you would enforce it. Two, does that add a cost to us recycling when people do that?
So Nick can speak to this more, but when we started in 2010,
Yeah.
they were very okay with that single stream being polluted up to the 8 or 10% mark. They
Okay,
know that's normal. So
okay.
I don't know if it's changed a whole lot or where we're at. Are we
No,
getting
we-
any grief from the recyclers if it's too dirty or?
I'm sorry, what?
Are we getting any grief from the people taking the recycling, and it's too dirty and not good enough?
Not at this time. It's, some neighborhoods, they're pretty religious about separating things. We did take the metal lids off, which some people don't like.
I don't think that's a good idea, but that's my two cents.
I've heard that from a couple of them. But they were really hard to use because you couldn't dump into them. The opening's small, so people found it hard to use, and we got enough complaints. We thought we would get better results by putting the plastic lids on them.
Plus the plastic lids are cheaper, right?
They're cheaper and they don't have as much maintenance either as the metal lids. Metal lids banged and made a lot of noise, and we had more problems with the metal lids.
There was a little issue with the metal lids too, you know, the openings with the recycling getting wet. And, I mean, they don't like wet paper.
We got more complaints from the recycling industry, from the moisture
Yeah.
in the recycling than any trash or anything else. Moisture's the worst culprit.
Moist
They
paper.
can-
Oh, go ahead.
They can take out the contaminants, but they can't take the water out of the paper. And the paper's ruined. It can't be recycled, it can't be dried. And 40% of the trash is paper. So if we lose 40% of the recyclables,
40% of the recyclables is
40%,
paper.
40% of trash is paper and cardboard.
Interesting. I thought we were a paperless society.
Look in
Okay,
front of you.
what's that?
Look in front of you.
I hear you, yeah. Okay, that's all I have, thank
Anything
you.
for, streets or lighting or anything else?
That was good, Joe.
No. No,
Thanks for the help, Todd.
you know, the most questions I get are trash, so I like talking trash.
Me too.
Go, sticking with the list, we'll go all in.
In terms of salt,
We're going about 15 minutes.
it's not gonna be 15 minutes.
Well,
Probably
just in
more.
case. Anything up to there is fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In terms of salt and beet juice, how do we purchase that? Do we, so let's say if we allocated 500,000, do we just go out and buy $500,000 worth, or do we spend 100,000 and wait to see how it goes?
No, we
Spend the full
we
amount?
spend the full amount, we put a
Man.
contract out. And the reason you need it here.
Right, just in
Before the
case.
winter hits, because it all comes up on barge and, you know, if you have a cold winter, then you can't get it up the river. And, you know, if you have a bad winter, that's when everybody's buying it, so it's hard to get a
Right.
hold of.
And I left when you guys were talking about the refuse trucks. So do we have a plan in place to purchase more, to phase in more instead of?
The only plan there's 4 new refuse trucks in that bond issue that was passed.
yeah.
They're, you know, like I was telling them, they're $250,000 apiece. So,
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
So we need some capital money to purchase some. It'd be nice to get on a rotation where you purchase so many a year.
Right.
Rather than, to be honest, you know, we have 28 of them that are 2,000. I don't know if I'd want 28 of them all at once.
Right.
Because then they're all go bad at once.
Right.
That shouldn't be my concern down the road.
Yeah, that's a good. Okay, no further questions.
Alderman Ogilvy.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I think we're on the verge of a crisis in refuse pickup. I mean, we're already changing the schedule to get it done, working 6 days. Cost to maintain and repair trucks is going
Well,
up.
that's another big issue with
It's
equipment
not-
services.
Yeah, I mean, it's not reflected in the staffing of the refuse division, but it's reflected somewhere else in the budget. I mean, the only way to purchase refuse trucks is not just bond issues. I mean, we could be doing this on an annual basis out of capital funds, out of general revenue. or
Correct.
Any revenue stream. So internally, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of urgency to fix this problem, but clearly we're way behind. I mean, we're way behind in a lot of vehicle purchases, but it looks to me like we're about $7 to $8 million behind just in refuse trucks. Any comment?
We keep requesting money through equipment services. They're the ones who, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, they get the capital money and set up the preferences.
I mean, all in all, you sit on the capital committee, you see what we wind up with in the end. We have a bunch of debt payment that we've locked ourselves into for a couple more years now. And that's where the capital money that's left over winds up going to those notes and those payments.
Sure, but dedicated capital revenue is not the only means of purchasing.
Right. So in order to do that, you'd have to squeeze something out of the operating budget and set up a line item.
I agree.
And have it in there.
We're just on we're already there, really. I mean, we have people who we're paying people who don't have trucks.
There's no argument that our equipment is so bad that it's costing us a lot of money in manpower to repair it, parts to repair it, as well as the extra labor to operate it when it breaks down. So we're there. So yeah, we need a solution to find some trucks.
And people are seeing service interruptions all the time.
Well, I mean, the historic thing is them leaking oil all over the alleys. I mean, it's been going on for years, and that's a common call. The cylinders are wore out and they leak and they're old. And that's what you get when you're running equipment. You know, 30, your fleet's 16, 17 years old now. So, you know, we've addressed, I think, the last bond issue, we started working on the fire apparatuses. The group prioritized fire equipment over refuse equipment. So we addressed that in the spring here, right, with a bond. So now we need to move on, we need to address the next concern, going down the hierarchy, which I would assume would be refuse trucks.
But we're not doing that in this budget. I mean, we're not, yeah.
It does not address it at all.
I mean, that's the one, there are some, you know, quote unquote problems that are getting fixed within this budget, I think, but this is one that's completely, I mean, rolling stock across the board is being completely ignored in this budget, and, you know, to the detriment of service delivery to residents.
The problem's so big that if you go to find the $2 million for trash trucks this year, you will have some impacts in services. And the question is whether we're willing to give up those services to replace the refuse trucks. $2 million's a big grab to grab out of this. I mean, I work closely with the budget director to put together what's in front of you now. And there was a lot of squeezing to put the last couple million together. It was very difficult.
And along with Todd.
As operations director, you don't see room anywhere throughout, you know, the 6,500 employees in the city budget to carve out space to do this?
So, in basic math, okay, you spend about $60,000 an employee, right? So a trash truck costs $335,000. So you're gonna eliminate 5 or 6 positions for every trash truck you're gonna purchase every year. You can see how that service impact would be a whole lot greater than the truck right now. And I guess it's for you guys to debate on how we pay for these things, whether it is the bond issue or whether we slice services somewhere and eliminate positions. So if you give up 6 positions for a year, you go buy 1 trash truck. How does that come out of here? You can look at it, you can study it. You know, it's a big ask. So if you want 4 trash trucks a year, you're gonna eliminate 24 positions in the budget every year.
But if we don't do that, we're not gonna be picking up people. There's no other, you can't, unless we outsource trash pickup and lay off, you know, hundreds of refuse employees, there's no other option to do this. We have to have the trucks to pick up
So what
Trash.
we do now
There's
is
no
we
plan B.
provide one of the, I would argue and Nick can speak to this, the most robust trash service in the region, if not the state, if not the Midwest, okay, for $11 a month.
I agree.
So that service is worth 2.5 times that, okay, on the open market, all right? So you're providing the best. So the best comes with a cost, and you must, look at where you're gonna get it. We talked earlier that the revenue coming in is 14 to 15 million, we're spending 21 or 22 million, and we're providing a hell of a service for that little bit of money. I've looked at other options, and it's gonna cost more money to go other ways.
Right, we agree, so I'm saying, but that system, you don't provide the most robust system if you don't have the trucks to empty the bins. So,
And we could argue the political thing, but we've been very lax on getting bond issues approved. Whether you like that or not, in the past, we've depended a whole lot more on bond issues.
You right.
And that's where we need to go, in my opinion, but I'm only one opinion.
it is hard for us to figure out, okay, because ideally we're not taking 12 positions out of one department to buy 2 trash trucks a year or whatever. It's hard for us to know which 12 positions across 6,500 positions citywide are the ones that, are expendable to do this. It would help for departments to do that, and I know maybe they feel like every position is essential, but when people's trash is not getting picked up, that equation has to change at some point.
So I am the operations guy, we have equipment, we have people, they're gonna go 6 days a week, we have the ability to pick up trash 7 days a week, we will get it done, we will not have trash laying in there. We're already faced with some other budget concerns here, forestry, cutting grass, Alderman Moore can speak to that. We need another $250,000 to throw at that every year, that's a trash truck. And in listening to you, I value the grass more than the need for a trash truck right now. Okay, so those are the balance, and that's what we're all here to talk about.
I want to ask about sewer lateral program. I know Kent's not here, but we expend all the money in that program before the end of the budget year, basically. It seems to me like it takes about 8 months to run through the money. And then for 4 months, it's only emergency repairs. And then we kind of catch up when the new budget year starts. One, I mean, that's frustrating for people. 2, many municipalities are covering the whole sewer lateral line. We have a $28 a month fee. The state authorizes us to go to $50. We'd have to vote on that, but can we do some internal analysis of if we got a $40 fee or a $50 fee, could we replace them faster? Could we cover the entire sewer lateral line? This is an expense that
We've never, Alderman Carter said we used to do it all, but we've always gone to the back of the right of way.
Right.
Back of the sidewalk, the edge of the alley, as far as we've gone.
It's an expense that every homeowner incurs eventually if they haven't replaced it already. So, we've had a flat $28 fee since 1988 or something. Obviously, that's not going as far as it once did. So I think, even just to continue to cover within the right of way, we may need to consider raising that fee because we're running out of money before the budget year ends every year.
Now, there is a question when people do call in and their lateral's bad and they have a video of it. We have, the majority of ours are clay pipes, and because the clay pipe has a crack in it, doesn't mean it's bad. Those pipes have been cracked for 30, 40 years. As long as the material's not migrating and it's not separated, that crack could function until our grandkids are here. So you hear some of that debate about my pipes cracked, I want a new one. But ultimately, the city still has the liability of what's going on out there. And those are some we choose not to repair, because honestly, we don't need to invest in it yet. So we have that little bit of grit. But to your point, can we use more money? Sure. To that point, Director, I mean, can you produce some document that speaks to what the Alderman's talking about? What does it take to go to the House? Where are we at with funding? What do you recommend? Could you put a document like that together for him?
I mean, I can put a document together, I think, what we could use in addition to, so we wouldn't run out doing what we currently do. I mean, to go to the House, I'm thinking you're gonna, because there's a lot of them, that sewers that come from the alley. And depending on, I mean,
They
my
go in the
opinion,
garages.
you're gonna go over $100. I mean, you're gonna, because the amount of work you're gonna have to do is gonna be triple or more.
The county doesn't have that.
I know,
all
they have
go out
much
the
newer,
front. And they all go out the front.
Yeah, they all go out the
So we got them
front.
going out the back where they go in the garage, and there's a percentage. I don't remember, it's 2/3 one way and 1/3 the other. I don't know which way it is.
You know,
They go
I'm
out
sure
front
we
and
can
back.
get that from MSD, but, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of them that go under garages and stuff. so-
We did look at it. It well exceeds the $50 a year to do all the way up.
Yeah.
You know, you guys need to weigh out what you wanna put on the ballot. This would be a ballot issue, someone do a bond issue. Do we put a bond issue to buy trash trucks? Do we put this issue on the ballot? That's for you guys to do. Well, I have no problem getting that draft and getting that to you, whatever path. So I think Steve can do a little homework and provide you a report on that,
Okay,
and you can consider it.
thanks.
Steve, if you put something together, can you send it to Conway, to the chair?
Yes. Send it to you and you distribute it to everybody?
I can get to everybody, sure.
Okay,
Put Tim in there, he'll handle it.
right.
And then, last question, I know we're starting to, replace light fixtures, street lighting with LED
Yes.
lights. It's a capital expense up front. Where, do we know, well, I know we do know, but can somebody point to me which budget line item will decrease over time because
Yes.
of the savings on electricity?
Would be 9120, 91. 21.
It's under contract services,
Signals,
utilities, electric, street lights.
Yeah,
5649121.
yeah, 9121.
Yep.
So building ninety.
What page are you?
183.
183.
Page
I don't have the page numbers on
It's
there.
3 up from the bottom.
Got it,
So
okay.
The one that says utilities, electric, streetlights.
Okay, so,
And to be honest, eventually the materials and supplies account, where we buy our fixtures from now, will decrease. That's up a little higher. It's actually lighting, traffic controllers, and power doors refers to the street lights. So.
But at this point, the power itself, the bills have increased. So right now, it seems to be a wash for this last year. We're short in the bills that we're about $500,000 short.
Yeah.
Everyone's been raising their rates, correct?
Yes, yes.
so
Because we pay the regular bills out of that same account in addition to materials. So we're paying our power bills out of that. So right now we're about $500,000 short in paying those bills.
so an LED streetlight is using, like, what, 20% of the electricity that,
No, it's more like 50,
Yeah.
50, okay, okay.
maybe 40.
So
But,
eventually, we'll get to.
but we got 60,000 fixtures to
Yes.
replace.
Yes,
So when that's all done, we'll
in 15 years.
have a 50% lower electricity bill.
The rate increases.
Sure.
Currently, yeah, based
know,
on
I know.
today's figures,
Yeah.
yes.
In theory.
I think you're more controlling the increase.
Right. But this other line item for replacing the other fixtures, you're saying may decline at some point as well?
But it's one line item, 9121. The 564.91.21.
Yeah, that will definitely decrease.
But this one up here, 71.53.
Yeah, it should also decrease. I mean, as the fixtures of the LEDs come down,
So that also includes.
right now, an LED fixture costs 200, or maybe a little more depending on the one, compared to our current high-pressure sodium fixture, which is $150. So we're paying a little more for them. But there again, theoretically, it should last for 20 years, so you won't have to purchase so many.
Okay.
So within that account though is also our traffic signal controllers
True.
that aren't changing, and
Sure.
actually, those are actually going up.
Yeah.
To account for all the smart city technology. So those are going from like 2,000 to like 3,500.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's a,
Okay, so then,
Thank you.
everything changes.
Alderwoman Howard had a follow-up question, and then we're gonna say more. Alderman Moore.
I was wondering, how much would we have to raise the fee for trash collection in order to break even? Have you looked at that?
In order to break even,
Mm-hmm.
Nick, have you done that annual sheet on the, we do that sheet every year to verify when
It
compliance is being
depends on
done?
whether you
But
include.
does that doesn't include trucks, does
No,
it?
if you include trucks,
To charging
I would probably
monthly
double
fee.
it.
and being
We need
underfunded.
to talk about that. Let
It
us
don't make
provide you a
sense.
sheet on that.
That's not-
Okay, yeah, because I'm interested in, and then how does that
Well, no, I
compare
mean,
with
but-
private services that
so
you
it's
may
like basically
pay?
we have
I would say it's close to
extra money. I mean,
I would
it should be
consider that
viewed as
we
extra
gotta
money
go
because
more.
now we're charging a fee.
I
We
haven't
were
seen those
charging a
numbers in a
fee
couple of years.
10 years ago, 7 years ago.
We'll go verify that.
So Stu,
Yeah,
could
when
you
we
also
when we
send it-
calculated the $11 a month, that was just the residential trash.
It just don't make sense.
Anything
Mathematically.
else we do. In other
You
words,
include bulk or?
didn't include bulk, it didn't include recycling, it didn't include the drop.
Nick will freshen that up and
Yeah.
we'll go over it.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, who are the people speaking? Who are the
Well,
people
they're
that are
kind of
making
all over 'cause
it?
we're
I
letting
understand,
everybody-
but still, I wanna know who the people are talking on the sideline. Rundy's sitting in the hot seat, so,
Well,
the questions
Tad, why don't
addressed
you-
to
why don't you
him?
jump up in the hot seat, Tad?
Oh, I love sitting in a hot seat with Alderman Moore at the table.
Yes, please.
So, and then you're gonna send a copy of that to the
Yes.
clerk, so.
Thank
Is
you.
there anything?
No.
So, Alderman Moore, you're up. And we put Todd up there with you, so. If
Well,
there's anything else you wanna
It's a lot
give us,
cooler over here too. Thank you, Chairman.
I got a few questions that had nothing to do with Rundy for real,
Yeah, what would you like us to?
but Deanna,
Dan, why don't you jump up in the other hot seat?
We got another seat here for you.
We're
Deanna.
gonna put everybody up there.
Want to
Yeah.
get Nick up here as well?
Well, well, if he's gonna address you, question we could, because, I think for here, so you can hear better.
who's responsible for putting the new halogen lights up in the community?
The halogen, we're putting up LED lights
Yes.
and not the halogens.
You're not putting up halogen?
Not halogens, no. We're putting up the LED lights.
The ones that's coming through BPS?
Yes.
Okay, so whatever they're called, I wanna have the choice of putting them up.
Certainly.
Making sure that we, get those lights
Yeah.
where we need them, where we find and feel like they're conducive to the community.
That's exactly
So
what
I
my
don't
plan
want you
is.
guys to run around, start putting up lights and I don't know anything about it. Next thing I know, I got some lit up area that don't need it.
Well, I sent you an email actually yesterday. I think Tracy sent me over an email. And you get to choose where those, like the allocation of the 10,000 that you are putting in your budget, where you want them to go.
money?
That's your choice still.
Okay.
So that's what you put out in the budget meeting. So if you can submit me a list of 10 blocks, and then we can go from there and you can choose where you want them. Now,
Okay.
as light fixtures die, okay, if a bulb burns out, we're gonna replace the bulb. It's a $10 feature. As the light fixture itself dies, we are replacing it with an LED light. So those will start to be sprinkled throughout the city. But if you are wanting to do blocks at a time to improve the lighting and make it more continuous throughout your ward, then you can do them in bulk, like we're speaking of.
Yeah, we're no longer purchasing high-pressure sodium fixtures, so as
Correct.
Dee said, if a light burns out, we need a new fixture, it's gonna be LED. If you get a street light that gets knocked down, we gotta replace it, it's gonna be LED.
Correct.
So you will see those sprinkled throughout your ward.
10 years, I feel that my leadership and my ability to lead has been highly disrespected by bike lanes and really by this new disrespect of this stop sign that I can't get on Marcus and Page. We passed an ordinance out and went through the full board for a stop sign to be placed on Marcus and Page. Then I'm told no after the ordinance, and I've been talking to Tim about it. I'd like to know what's going on. So who was doing the legislating, the street department or the legislators?
How does that fit into the budget here? Are we not here, Chairman, to discuss the budget?
I would actually ask you to do that on the side, but you're right, I agree with what you said, because I've had the same problem, but we want to try and stick within the budget, so if we can do that.
Well, I mean, it's the same shots that's being called by.
No, I had said it, everybody had to leave the room and.
But I mean, we have the street department here, and I need to know what's going on.
Well,
And this is the only opportunity I have to ask these questions, because I can't seem to get an answer otherwise. And it has something to do with my budget. Continuously, I want to know about my stop sign, since we have the street department here.
Yeah, but it's not related to the budget. I agree 100% with what you're saying, and if it was legislated that a stop sign should be there, then they should put it up, but we gotta try and stick within the budget questions.
I would envision that we'll be wrapping up here in 15 minutes and that these people can hang around and have a one-on-one with you following this meeting if you have time. I don't believe it's part of the issue at the table now, but I'm assuming that these people can hang around and discuss that further with you following this meeting, if you'd like.
That's your belief.
I believe,
Not
yeah.
mine.
Okay. We gotta get together on our beliefs.
But it's definitely not my belief. Go
I'll-
ahead,
I'll-
go ahead.
I'll
Mr.
stay-
Chairman,
I'll
you can
stay
move
with you.
forward.
Yes, please, but I'll
You
stay
can
with
move,
you
you
to
can
make
move,
sure.
you can move forward. I don't want to debate anymore.
Okay, any other questions
I just,
from Alderman Moore?
No.
No more other questions? And then follow-up questions?
and so my question is, I wasn't here when the trash and water deal was put together. But just in terms of the money that we generate from trash pickup, years ago we didn't charge for trash pickup, right? It was wrapped into our taxes, and so now this money, it seems like it should be extra money in a sense, right? Or no?
So, Ed, you remember the detail, back in 2010, we began charging for trash. And that generates this $14 to $15 million a year that goes into general revenue.
Right.
If I remember right, that year, we had some hurdle, some big hit to the budget that helped to handle.
Well, it's actually three things. We had increased costs. One, the state mandated
Okay.
that we had to separate out. Now, this was part of that started the problem. The state mandated we had to separate out yard waste.
Okay.
We had to show a certain percentage of recycling.
Oh, yeah.
So all of that was costing us extra money.
Okay.
The other thing after that was, stuff just started going up, you know. When I started the city, we could get a real good trash truck for about $75,000, $80,000, $90,000. Now they're $250,000.
Okay.
So
Right.
employees got paid $10,000 a year, now they get paid $45,000.
Okay.
So that was the
Okay.
end of the recession, we had some big hits, and the budget was hurt.
Right, okay.
So when you look at introducing 15 million into the budget, it got sucked up.
Okay. Have we, and in terms of, I seen it in here that we have people that paint curbs or something, right? Or no, or is that?
No.
No.
All right, maybe I was reading something else. Why doesn't the street department paint curbs? I mean, I know that the treasurer's office does some, or I guess they do it all.
No, yeah, well, they used to.
I would
They
ask
give
you,
us
is that-
$5,000 now, $5,000 a year to paint curbs, which,
One block.
and we
Okay.
put in, you know, for
Yeah.
some additional performance painters.
So that we could do it.
So we could
in this
hire
time.
them, you know, just during the summer to do that, but that was also not, that was an addition and it was cut out through the budget division.
Well, I would hate to recommend something that I have, but I'm gonna throw it out there anyway.
And
So like,
I mean, as my position, I'm on the parking commission. So we're discussing budget now, and I'm requesting that they give us more money to do that.
right, okay. Have we ever thought about, like, wards like mine and a few others, we get hit really hard with, like, illegal dumping in our alleys. I border the county, so I get a lot of just loads of trash in the alley. And most of the time, that stuff goes unreported. Either like I'll have to call or like a resident's call, but most of the time they think that we automatically see it. Have we thought of being proactive in the sense of maybe once or a few times a week putting somebody in the car with the refuse driver to kind of
Well,
because because they ride every alley, you know, like a once a week throughout the whole. Throughout the whole city, and you know, like I said, most stuff it doesn't get reported unless if I have to go and take a picture of it and send it in, or you know, a resident may call, but they automatically think that we see it. I just think that for future, and I know that we don't have money to hire someone extra to put in that passenger seat to record or turn in certain things, but just trying to be proactive about, you know, the situation. I get hit hard, man.
you're right. We put a lot of that responsibility on the
Yeah.
refuse drivers, driving the alleys. Nick can speak further to that, because you're right, they see it every day. And when they see new stuff, they should be putting on their trip ticket, and it should be putting in there. Does everybody do it? No, but we work with them, right, Nick?
Yeah, we've stopped crimes in progress. We've stopped the pit bull from killing someone, we stopped the woman that was being raped. We do see things and we do report them.
Okay.
Dumping is, the chance that we're gonna be there when it happens, you can dump a load in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, just reporting it as seeing it and getting it like turned in as a service request or something like that, so we can actually like be quicker to pick it up. I'm not saying that the driver should, but I think that further down the line, maybe years from now, we should probably.
Well, they have the bulk people that go through the alleys, but they only do it once a month, so.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to clean everything up when they're scheduled to go through that alley.
I
mean, there's.
talking about dumping on lots.
But if it's like if it's
Oh,
dumped
okay.
on the rear of a vacant lot,
Okay.
they
yes,
wouldn't pick that
right.
up, you know. So, thanks. No further questions. That was more so.
Sorry, I forgot to ask earlier. Utility permitting, in particular with Clean Gas right now, I think that we're gonna have increased paving costs in the coming years because of all the utility work the fleet has done. And I think a lot of cases of restoration work is poor, and they're eliminating a lot of street markings that we paid for, from bike lane lines to stop bars to turning arrows. Why can they do the work and leave and not paint back what was there in the first place?
So I actually just worked that out with Clean Gas yesterday.
Yeah.
So we sent them over a price schedule of what it costs to stripe. They're going to, because right now they turn in tickets for paving, and they also turn them in for striping as well. So we gave them the cost, so now that we have a process in place that they'll send over the ticket, we charge them for it, and we'll go out and stripe it, but that way we know about it.
They'll pay us to do that.
And so that includes everything, you know, your skips, your bike symbols, bike lanes, stop bars, crosswalks, everything.
Okay, great.
So, yes, I appreciate the comment, and we saw it as well.
And I think Kent on the other end works when they hit a new street, they repave it. I mean,
Right.
And
With
it's
them
the same
and
for
MSD. Yes.
Because there's been an intersection in my ward, as I told Mike, that's been, are they supposed to report that they were there and they're done working and that you guys can go
Yes.
ahead and proceed?
Yes, they're supposed to Well,
And
well, if you have an area, yeah, tell Mike or,
yeah,
and
I
then,
did.
Is that,
and Laclede is gonna do that on streets that MoDOT owns and maintains?
Everything, they don't know the difference, I
Okay.
don't think.
Okay. Good.
then, thanks for coming. Do me a favor, we're gonna take a 10-minute recess, because I gotta get, Greg Daly's office up there, I didn't want to have him standing in the hall. I need you two to go talk to Sam Moore and work that out.
Thanks.
So, we'll take a 10-minute recess.
Tim, do you wanna come?
But we're not gonna keep you long anyway, but if you wanna give us just a quick rundown of your budget.
Sure.
And
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Ways and Means Committee, and visitors. My name is Greg Daly. I'm the Collector of Revenue for the City of St. Louis. To my right is Mr. Tom Ballmer, who is the Chief of Staff for the Collector of Revenue's office. With us this morning, we have just an overview of the Office of the Collector of Revenue, and if I could, I'd just like to take a minute to just read the letter that we have. The Collector of Revenue's office is a fee-based office. Our office receives a percentage of the taxes collected ranging from 1.5 to 4%. These fees are used to operate and collect taxes due and are mandated by several state statutes. The financial reports attached correspond to the last two fiscal year collections, March 2014 through 15, March 2015 through 2016. Throughout the past 2 years, this office has utilized updated technology to increase our public availability and resources in a continued commitment to collect all funds owed to the city. Working with our compliance department, we have expanded our legal efforts to concentrate on outstanding balances due to the city and to collect them by aggressively yet equitable means. We stand by our mission and consistently endeavor to provide and constantly endeavor to provide quality customer service and assistance. Employing these efforts, we have been responsive to the city budget and are able to return more money of our statutory budgets as surplus to the City of St. Louis and other various agencies than previous years. The hard work and dedication of the Collector of Revenue staff over the past 2 fiscal years has been unfailing. Their commitment and those of the employees in the multiple departments that work with us have helped to coordinate such a massive collection effort. Our office looks forward to the continued cooperation amongst other departments in the coming fiscal years, and we strive to serve the City of St. Louis's best interest. The second page, we have a breakdown of the various departments of which we do collections. And as you can see, on the left side is the trash, water, earnings tax, and payroll, and real estate and personal property. I think what you'll see is that the bottom line there is $636 million. That's what we brought in for fiscal year 2015 through 2016. We're up from the previous year. One of the things that is that you'll see is that trash and water, we did not collect as much in 16 as we did in 15, but quite frankly, that's due to the billing cycle that we utilize. It's just the money wasn't there on the day that we collected it. The next portion of our budget overview are the various agencies that we collect monies for, and as you can see, the St. Louis Public School System is the biggest agency that receives the benefit of the real estate and personal property. So there are 14 different agencies there, and that distribution is $351 million. The third page of our overview is how our office is run with regards to commissions. We had, in 2015, our commissions were $19 million. The expenses for our office came out to be somewhere in the vicinity of $8.8 million. So we in turn returned a surplus commissions back to the city of St. Louis to the tune of $10 million. In addition to these particular departments that we make, or that we collect, we have a Department of Revenue that is a state-based office that works out very well for the citizens of our city that come in and want to get their driver's license, get their tags, get their IDs, this kind of thing. It also is very helpful in collection. For the simple matter is, people can't get their driver's license or their tags if they don't pay their personal property. And we just happen to be right next door. So it works out extremely well as far as the collection process goes. And, it is something that I think is really a benefit to the entire city, just to have the recorder deeds is on the first floor. If somebody needs a birth certificate or they need a waiver, they can get that from the assessor's office. So it really does work out as far as a customer service. And if I could, I would just like to say that one of the things that we pride ourselves on in the Collector of Revenue's office is customer service. Quite frankly, we're in everybody's pocket all the time. And it's very important that we treat everyone that comes in our office, whether it be on a personal visit or on the phone or whatever, that we treat them with the respect and the professionalism they deserve. I'm open for whatever questions anybody might want to have.
Do we have any questions? But I'm listening. Alderman Howard?
I just wanna say that, I do, even though people, you're in their pocket, I have constituents that have given you rave reviews, aside from having to fork over the money.
Thank you all.
But they say, at least I get good service and people are pleasant when I call.
And that's pretty much all we can hope for.
Right.
It's that kind of a situation that people feel that, they were treated professionally and, they know that taxes are due and at least when they pay it, they think, okay, fine, let's move on to the next crisis.
And I also would like to commend you on your way of dealing with people that are behind on their property taxes to make arrangements to pay them in installments and, that you can pay in advance.
Yeah,
in installments. I think that's a really good thing for people that are on a fixed income and that, might have a hard time putting that money aside.
Thank you. It's a program that has been very much, very well accepted in the community. It's tough to get that, $1,500 or $1,300 right there in November. And what we have listened to the public and they have obviously voiced their concerns on that. So we have extended that so they can pay throughout the year, make the burden a little less burning come November.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Carter?
Yeah, I just want to say the same sentiments that Alderwoman Howard said. People love you, so I think it's easy writing you a check, even though they hate it. But just in terms of mental health on here, what does that go to? Is it a mental health fund, or is it? Oh, okay. And that's the state fund, right?
Yes. It was a vote. It was voted the people probably about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
No. Do you know what was the reason for a decrease in water collections? Folks just didn't pay, or more people moved out?
No. What happens is that the billing, you get billed quarterly on your water bill. So there's someone in the city every month is getting a bill, whether it be north, south, or central. We divide it into 3 sections. What happened was we closed the books by state statute on the first Monday in March. The bills were still being mailed because it wasn't due till the 15th. It was just the way the calendar fell from the previous fiscal year. The money was there. Obviously, it was the same. It was just the way the calendar fell.
Right. Okay. No further questions.
Alderman Ogilvy?
I don't have any questions.
What?
Well, Greg, thank you guys for coming up.
Thanks for the opportunity. We appreciate it, and please, it goes without saying, if If the constituents of any of your wards have any concerns with our office, please don't hesitate to call. We're more than willing to try to work whatever it needs to be to keep people alive and keep them going. Okay?
We're adjourned then. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Greg.